Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Invest. Talk about investing, finance, fresh development. For today's very early terms only. Investment going to talk about today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. First, just want to say happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you have a great week so far and a good day so far. With respect to Ethereum, as I'm recording around 9:32 a.m. on the Eastern time, currently trading like the $19.96 level, up about 1% so far. With respect to the B word summit that we've had yesterday, obviously it was driving some anticipatory pressure, but at the same time some confirmatory pressure onto creating some buying pressure for Ethereum, but also for Bitcoin respectively as well. With respect to the news that we got and got the confirmation from Elon Musk that he's currently an investor in both Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin respectively. And obviously with this stamp of approval, and the positive sentiment that we have during the session that we had yesterday in the B Word Summit, it drove a lot of buying pressure yesterday, right? But we also had that kind of normalization effect, the buy the rumor, sell the news, that at one point we hit the $2,034 level and then kind of hovered back down to the $1,950 level. However, us obviously the international side of the news got to get to picked up. People across from the other side of the ocean, heard the news that Elon Musk is having the stamp of approval, with the crypto assets going forward and having his skin in the game. Obviously, provides a lot of gravitas and buying pressure onto the price point for Ethereum, which subsequently propel and sustain above the level of 1950, and at one point breach above the 2000. And I believe at one point today we were hitting all the way to the $2018, but not sustain enough to obviously reach that $2050 to get the next leap up to 2150. And also on top of the fact that today we also got a couple of other news with respect to the foreshadow with the London fork that's expected to debut, basically 2 weeks out from now. And also we got some news on basically Solana again, another just position article on, is Solana, Ethereum killer going forward? So more just a type of influential news, type of a persuasive type of verbiage that you see an article from Decrypt, which is obviously, per our discussions prior, Cointelegraph, Decrypt, these type of media companies are oftentimes questionable, right, with respect to the, the verbiage that they use and the adjectives that they use. They typically are coming from a representative that have sort of cognitive bias towards a specific value proposition that they stand for, right? So obviously when we read these articles, you have to be, take it with a grain of salt if you may. And obviously with that affectation, it will drive some selling pressure, or more like a normalization type of pressure, because the news that we got from B Word Summit was a lot more positive spectrum in comparisons to those like comparison news that we heard earlier today, right? So that's why we're kind of hovering on a sideways fashion right now. So I'm going to go to the technical analysis. It seems that we are forming some sort of a golden cross at the moment, but the RSI is a little bit overbought at the moment, right? And ahead of the weekend affectation and the FOMC meeting ahead of time, how should we be playing this going forward? What are the resistance levels to look out for in case we have some sort of a black swan event that subsequently could correct the market? Or how should we be seeing the trends going forward? So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticker ETH, I'm recording a soft 9:40 a.m. on the Eastern time. Current trend like the $19.93 level, up about 0.82%. So with respect to the equity market, let's see how it anti-correlates, okay? So today we are seeing that with respect to the last week so far, we had that sell-off because of the inflationary pressure, the fear-mongering that we have with respect to the quantitative tightening plan, or the tapering foreshadow that we're hearing from the Feds, and subsequently drive some selling pressure. But it seems like we're kind of reversing right now. We saw that RSI by that point was relatively depleted by the 19th of July. We formed that like death cross that subsequently drove us to sell off so substantially, and now it seems like we kind of recuperating, getting some momentum from there. On the RSI, we're kind of neutral from here. So I do see some more of a buying pressure ahead of the sector rotation that we should be expecting by Q3, Q4 later this year. So let's take a look at NASDAQ as well. It should be comparable. Yeah, very comparable. You can see that the cross section was formed on the 13th of July, and subsequently we are slowly fusing together. So we are also on the very, I would say the NASDAQ's a little bit more overbought in comparisons to the SPY. So I think the dip was there. that occur because of the fear mongering again. Same comparable dynamics subsequently drive the reversal right now, but we're leaning more toward overbought right now. So I do see some normalization coming, right, to maybe go down to the 14,428 and then subsequently come back up again, right? So I wouldn't advise like buying a call right now because of the momentum that we're seeing, despite the dip that we saw. I think it might make sense to maybe just watch out or wait on the sideline for now. So let's take a look at Ethereum right now. Obviously, the market is a little bit green today. I would say more of a neutral, which subsequently will drive some anti-correlation effect, and also of the fact that yesterday was a relatively green day because of the B-word summit that we heard, the confirmatory news that we got from Elon Musk and Cathie Wood on their long-term value proposition for crypto assets going forward. And Elon Musk specifically said that he is currently an investor in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even Dogecoin as well. So obviously with that step of approval, we got some buying pressure, hitting all the way at one point to the $2,040 something, 43 I believe. And also on top of the fact that international news got picked up as people woke up on the other side of the world, learn about this news from the B-word summit, subsequently drive some buying pressure. And also great news is that we are seeing that we are forming a cross. You could see that it's very small. It's kind of hard to detect, but you could tell that we are, the cross section that we durate ever since the sell-off that we've had on the 12th, and we've been kind of flying off the cliff all the way down to the 17, 18. We are at the reversal trend right now. So we are crossing up, but something we have to watch is that the RSI is a little bit more on the neutral side, but leaning more towards the overbought spectrum. Okay, so would I advise buying it now? I think you might want to be waiting off a little bit because Thursday is, again, it's not within the weekend affectation yet. The 23rd and the 24th, which is Friday, and the durations of the sell-off happens, starting from, I believe, somewhere around like 3:30 or 2:30 p.m. on the Eastern time on Friday, all the way to 5 p.m. on the Eastern time on Saturday, right? So you do have like about, over like 24 hours of a span of, people just taking profits or the safe haven effect, contingent on obviously no black swan news or like negative news that we hear during that week, right? So I would kind of just like hold off and practice patience at the moment, right? I do see more of a normalization coming back to the 1950 or somewhere around like the 1900 again. Ideally, we will go back to the 1850, which is the level that will probably dollar cost average again, because of the weekend affectation and the FOMC meeting, and based on our historical consecutive trends so far, every single FOMC meeting has always been kind of a fear-mongering driver, right? And every single time we kind of correct the market across both the equity side but also on the crypto side, right? And I foresee that we are going to get more reinforcement about their plan on quantitative tightening or like tapering going forward, which when we hear these keywords, or these are basically trigger words to drive sell-offs across the market, again, it's just something that I don't know why investors are thinking in that perspective. Inflation or quantitative tightening is something that we are expecting to happen, right? How are you going to expect that we were able to get the stimulus checks, in the last 1.5 years, and obviously sustaining our corporate functions, by providing cash flow to corporations in the U.S. to sustain their operations and obviously sustain jobs and livelihoods, right? Is by printing more money, right? And while you print more money, you depreciate U.S. dollar. So now the Fed and the central banks basically pulling it back by like, you know what, we're gonna cut off the circulation, we're gonna stop the machines, stop the printers, and by doing that, you basically deplete the supply, keep it flat, but demand goes up. So when you have that imbalance in the supply and demand dynamics, U.S. dollar will subsequently appreciate. But that will obviously drive some fear because, like, oh, you don't have cash to sustain corporate operations anymore. You don't have cash to sustain stimulus checks right now. How are they going to be able to sustain their livelihood? That's why people are kind of driving some fear, and also on top of the fact that people want to be holding the U.S. dollar, the currencies, their cash, instead of just like buying investments, right? Because U.S. dollar is appreciating, people tend to keep their cash in their wallet, their pockets, if you may, right? So hopefully this is helpful, and this is how I'm going to play for the next couple of days and weeks coming up. Just to recap all the numbers in the technical analysis, we are kind of hovering between the levels right now, right? The real levels that we've identified is the 2050, which we never got to actually break through, which is the reason why we're kind of hovering back down to more of a comfortable level, the 1950, right? So currently we're floating around like the $1989 level. But again, the 1950 or 1963, more specifically, that's the real level of consolidation that we've had previously, is a relatively weak one, right? I think we have a high propensity to go down to 1900, especially on top of the fact that the weekend is coming, and per our discussions on the affectation of the safe haven effect, right? That ideally dollar cost averaging around like the 1900 or the 1850 would be more risk averse approach. But obviously, if you want to buy this for a long term buy proposition, totally fine with me. I think you just have to practice patience and obviously control your emotions and your sanity going forward. But with respect to corporate adoption, 20%, 9,800, 5 times your money from here if you buy at the $1950. That's it for today. Respect my technical analysis on Ethereum ticket ETH. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday and a great rest of the week as well. And just a reminder, please be careful with respect to the comment sections and obviously with respect to the emails that you guys have been getting. I know there are a lot of scammers trying to pretend to be me or make fake accounts and reaching out to you guys with their WeChat, with their WhatsApp or Patreon, or try to make you subscribe or sign up for something or try to charge you for anything. You know, I'm doing this for free and I plan on doing this for free. I might do a Patreon later in the future because I know a lot of people have been asking for it. So I really appreciate that you guys are willing to pay me to obviously to get my information and my advice. But again, this is a form of me giving back, so I don't want to be doing that yet. You know, I want to be, you know, building relationship with you guys and obviously further cultivate this team that we have here, right? This is a village and we are collectively trying to help as many people as we can together, not just myself, right? And I hope that you can learn something from what I'm doing here, but also teach yourself, but also teach other people, right? Then eventually we can all reach that financial freedom, that security that we're looking for, right? But I really appreciate you, and stay tuned for the next one come up. Take care. Bye.